Hey, what's up guys? We are going to be installing these shelves here. I got 6 of them to put in. I want to show you what we do, how we install these into the grout joint using epoxy, cutting our slots, what epoxy we use, how we go about doing that. Let me show you the first one that we got in so you can kind of see how it's going to look, and then we'll go over the process of how and what we do to get these in. So here is the first one we got installed. I'm going to show you how we did this and how we actually have pitch on it as well, because that was a question that I get a lot, is how do you have pitch or fall or slope in your shelf if you're putting it in your grout joint like that. So you can see there is pitch. There's no funny business going on here. It is a clean level and there's pitch. I'm going to show you how we do that. Now the next step is we're going to cut 3 slots into this. In this case, we're going to use dimes. They fit into a 16th inch grout joint. A lot of people use quarters or nickels, or you can use like a metal biscuit to drop in there, each one. We are going to use dimes. That's what we have. That's what fits in our joint, and we're not cutting the field tile to make that happen. So what I'm going to do in order to get the pitch is on the back here, I'm going to cut a little below this line, and this is going to be dead center in the line, and this is going to be just above the line, just slightly, and that's going to give us a little bit of pitch when we put that in. All right, so now I'm going to cut my slots like I was saying. This is the back of the shelf, so I am going to cut it just below this line. This one's going to go in the middle of the line, this one just on the other side of the line, and that's going to give us our pitch. You're going to want to check the depth as you go, but I've already done this a lot with this blade, so I already kind of know where to stop in order for me to get my dime in there. But yeah, check as you go. You don't want to go too deep because you don't want that to suck all the way in. When you put the epoxy on there, you want to be able to push it in and have the material stop, whether you're using a dime, a quarter, or like a biscuit. You want it to stop in there. You don't want it to just fall through. So cut your depth accordingly to whatever you're using, but check it as you go. See, we want it to bottom out and still have some meat hanging out. That's going to go into the grout joint. So I can't push it anymore, and that's pretty tight in there. So imagine that with the epoxy all caked in there, that thing's not going anywhere. And we are good there. So I'm going to cut this other side. Then we'll get this cleaned up using some acetone. We want this to be really, really clean surface. That's the key to epoxy, is the surfaces have to be really, really clean. You want that to adhere to it. So cut the other side, get it all cleaned up, and then I'll show you what epoxy we're using, whip it up and all that good stuff, and we'll install this. All right, we got our acetone here. Just gonna soak this rag real quick. And we might get this all cleaned up. Alrighty. And the next thing we'll do is I'm going to tape off these joints, because I'm also going to put the epoxy in the grout joint itself, because I want to squish it into the joint, and when it fuses to this piece, which it will also be in the slots, it's going to be all one big long piece of epoxy all the way around the whole thing. So I put the tape like that, and then I'm going to push the epoxy into the grout joint where the shelf is going. I'm going to put it into the shelf itself. Drop my dimes in there, and then when that goes in there, it's going to be all fused. Some of that epoxy is actually going to push back in behind the whole grout joint. You know, it's going to lock in there really good. So I got my epoxy here, Superior VMAX SV9. I'm going to add my hardener about this size here. It's a little less than a golf ball. I'm going to add about a pea-size ball, maybe a little bit more. I do want this to fire off pretty quick. We are grouting and siliconing everything today. So let me add the hardener, and we will pipe it into the grout joint over there, and then get our shelf all done up real quick. We're gonna have to act fast. There is my hardener. Should have about 4 or 5 minutes with about that much hardener. Okay. We're just gonna push it into there and then cut it off. Push it in there, cut it off. So I gotta act quick. I'm gonna kill the camera for a minute because I gotta put all these in and pipe the joint, and I'll show you right as we're about to set it. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna push it into the joint, wipe it clean, push it into the joint, wipe it clean. And now we are going to pull our tape. Okay, gotta grab the shelf. All right, we're all ready to stick it in. Let's see. All right, we got one side in. I kind of need 2 hands for this. Now we just got to go around, clean a little bit of our squeeze out. Got some squeeze out here. We're just going to clean that with the acetone real quick. But yeah, it's in there. Let that harden, and then we are ready to grout and silicone and all that. Let's check, see if we got our pitch. And yeah, we do, plenty. So there it is. That is how you put pitch in a shelf like that.